Story time, everybody. Get yourself a cup of coffee and sit down for this one. Cannabis CEOs Behaving Badly is a many-chaptered book that I could write 100 times, but I haven't yet. Here's one such episode unfolding now in real time. Green Relief Inc. is a small private cannabis company producer in Flamborough, Ontario that received its license in February 2016. Its products are available via medical document authorized by a healthcare practitioner, but not in the recreational market. Their CBD oil has the highest CBD content per milliliter of any other oral formulation available, with a THC content consistently well below 1 milligram per milliliter. That's important for people with high reactivity to THC, like me. 2 milligrams of THC is enough to turn me into a meditative potato for 4 hours, which is not exactly conducive to work. I took my crew to shoot a video in 2018 of the facility, which stands out from other cannabis cultivation operations due to their use of aquaponic growing methods. Aquaponics is essentially a hydroponic system where fish are raised in the nutrient tanks. They transform their food into waste that becomes nutrients for the plants. At the end of the day, it's really just a clever little marketing gimmick that doesn't offer much in the way of relevant benefits to a cannabis business, except that certain people think it's more organic or earth-friendly, so it's an audience magnet and provides fish and chips for lunch. The fish are actually a secondary crop to cannabis and an alternative source of nutrients that are organic in nature, though not necessarily resulting in an organic cannabis crop. Green Relief actually donates the fish to local food banks. But as I said, this feature of Green Relief's operations is nothing more than a curiosity at this point, because right now this company has much bigger fish to fry. Despite raising nearly $60 million from investors, by March 2019, this company was on the verge of collapse. The company was founded by Warren Bravo and Steve LeBlanc, two Hamilton area good old boys who were most famous previously for Bravo Cement and construction company Unique Restorations. They caught a wave though when they got their cannabis license and raised a total of about $60 million since 2013, while telling their shareholders and me that they'd be public in 2018. Thank the universe that they didn't go public, because if Bravo and LeBlanc had acted as they did in a public company, the company would have been bust a long time ago and lost its cannabis license. But as I said, back in March 2019, the company was on the brink of insolvency, and the board of directors summoned its largest shareholders to a meeting where the founders effectively resigned. One of those shareholders was Dr. Neelank Jha, a neurosurgeon who is also a spine surgeon and with an MBA from the Ivy School of Business and a master's in behavioral economics from the London School of Economics. He started a company called Bodhi Research in 2015, named after his firstborn son, which focused on developing a formulation of THC, CBD, and certain terpenoids designed to treat traumatic brain injury conditions resulting from concussions in sports. In 2018, he sold Bodhi Research to Green Relief in exchange for 4.4 million Green Relief shares, and the name was changed to Green Relief Innovations, or GRI for short. Jha's expectation was that Green Relief would provide the capital to advance the drug development within GRI. Dr. Jha has been called the world's foremost authority on traumatic brain injury by Dr. Lester Grinspoon at Harvard Medical School. He designed a double-blind, placebo-controlled study for a CBD compound with the London School of Economics that was going to generate a rich data set that would be step one in moving toward regulatory approval for his patent-pending formulation. Dr. Jha is not your average CEO, nor your typical CEO. The first thing he did when he learned how dire the situation was financially for Green Relief back in March 2019 was wire $150,000 of his own money to Green Relief so the employees could get paid. He has worked since then and is working now for no salary. He is not charging the company a dime. As if that's not enough, he has offered to put up a block of 4 million of his shares, almost all of them, to shareholders for 50 cents a share, which will be reinvested in the company in its entirety. To say Dr. Jha's interest is now aligned with shareholders is an understatement. The only way for him to monetize that asset is to monetize Green Relief, a Herculean task given the current financial environment for cannabis stocks as a result of the collapse in valuations which occurred beginning in April 2019. So where'd all the money go? Well, Dr. Jha has brought aboard 2 additional key hires who at this point are working for some as yet undetermined future consideration, as they are still in the process of sorting through the financial records left behind by the founders, who were, to be blunt, reckless and irresponsible with investor funds. New CFO Stephen Massel is a former Ernst & Young auditor. He's a chartered accountant, a chartered management accountant, and a CPA. Boda McNamara is now acting general counsel, formerly with Weir Folds, specializing in corporate insolvency and turnarounds. To describe this new management team as forensic is no exaggeration. At a town hall-style meeting on January 14th this year, the incoming management group brought along with them Chairman Tony Battaglia, and they walked a crowd of about 100 or so assembled Green Relief shareholders through a tale of corporate malfeasance on a scale never yet seen in the Canadian cannabis industry. As it turns out, of the $60 million raised, $14.1 million has gone missing. Well, not exactly missing. They've tracked it down, or at least some of it. But what emerges, according to court-filed documents, is a clear picture of Warren Bravo, his wife Lynn, and to a lesser extent, Steve LeBlanc, using Green Relief funds to pay off outstanding obligations on money-losing personal businesses that had nothing to do with Green Relief or the business of growing cannabis, while using the company bank account as their personal ATM to buy everything from home renovations to high-end automobiles to a heritage home in Langley that they renovated and ran as part of an Airbnb. They renovated that home. They didn't buy it with Green Relief funds. Nothing has yet been tested in court, but the documented evidence is overwhelming and irrefutable and is filed in Ontario Superior Court of Justice in Hamilton under court file number 20-71888. In slide after slide at the town hall meeting and confirmed in the court filing, Mr. Massel and Mr. McNamara displayed photocopies of checks, invoices, lease agreements, and mortgage documents bearing the signatures of Warren Bravo and in some cases his wife Lynn Bravo and Steve LeBlanc, using Green Relief funds to pay for things that had nothing to do with Green Relief or its businesses. They bought construction supplies with Green Relief money that never made it to the Green Relief's operating site. There was equipment rental charges in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for equipment that has never been seen or used at Green Relief's operating site. There are payments to Canada Revenue Agency for personal tax arrears. There's even a payment for $585,000 to the Laborers International Union of North America for arrears due to cement workers from Bravo Cement. But the abuses didn't end there. They created false invoices to distribute Green Relief funds to family members, pay off their mortgages, and even engineered a way for Green Relief operating to pay off the personal mortgage that bought the land, which they then turned around and rented to Green Relief. Let that sink in for a moment. They used money raised from Green Relief investors to buy the land in their own names and lease the property back to Green Relief while charging them rent. But wait, it gets better. After they raped and pillaged the company coffers to the point where Green Relief couldn't even make payroll or pay their rent to their rapacious landlords, Bravo filed suit against Green Relief for non-payment of rent, which Dr. Jha and team withheld for obvious reasons. In fact, 2 companies filed suit against Green Relief, one owned by Bravo, one owned by Steve LeBlanc. Bravo actually showed up and locked the gates to the entrance of Green Relief recently in retaliation for Green Relief's seizure and sale of his Range Rover that Bravo was leasing that he bought with Green Relief funds. It's hard to keep up with. So now Dr. Jha is faced with the task of pulling a rabbit out of the hat. The debacle with the Green Relief induced Dr. Jha to step in with his new team and try to extricate the shareholders of Green Relief from a total wipeout. So far, he has accomplished the seemingly impossible, but there's a long road to hoe ahead. Warren and Lynn Bravo continue to squeeze Green Relief. Warren Bravo bolted the gate shut to Green Relief, as I said, ostensibly for unpaid rent. Steve LeBlanc, on a phone call on Monday, January 27th, downplayed his involvement and tried to distance himself from Warren Bravo. There was a lot of decisions that I didn't agree with, he said. Warren Bravo did not return my call requesting comment. The value proposition left in Green Relief is Green Relief Innovations. At this point, investors might be thinking they wouldn't want to touch this company with a 10-foot pole. And that was my first reaction. But the funny thing is, the asset inherent in Bodhi Research, now Green Relief Innovations, is the holy grail of cannabis evolution and will likely become one of the leading pharmaceutical products to change the way traumatic brain injury is treated. Green Relief owns 51% of GRI, but Dr. Jha and Mark Lustig, who most recently sold Origin House to Cresco Labs for $720 million, own the other 49%. GRI is financeable on its own, independent of Green Relief, which could provide GRI the funds it needs to progress through Phase 3 clinical trials while rescuing the shareholders of Green Relief. Green Relief has also the #1 formulation of CBD oral drops, being the only company who is able to consistently produce the CBD oil in concentrations up to 50 milligrams per milliliter with less than 1 milligram THC. Soon after meeting Dr. Jha, and despite these looming legal challenges, I tripled my investment into Green Relief because the tenacity, integrity, and sheer determination of Dr. Jha makes the entire enterprise something I am proud to be part of. This triumph of intrepid human nature against larceny and greed is too good a story not to support.